Good morning, guys. It's now time for the Big O fishing report, and it is, it's Thursday, August the 6th. Lake level came up just a hair. It was like 1094, I believe it was this morning. You won't notice the difference. It hasn't come up that much, and but we're getting some rain around the lake, so that's obviously going to help. But we need one of those really, really good rains to set in here for a day or two to bring the lake up. I'd like to see it about a foot deeper than it is right now. But as far as fishing goes, fishing's better right now at the level that it is right now. It's perfect. And we're catching a lot of fish out there. You got to be a little careful. Well, you got to be a lot careful out there. Let me tell you. You got to put that stick in your boat when you're out there. Make sure you got enough water to get on plane. And, I fished up in Okeechobee quite a bit lately out of Scott Driver Park, which is the best park around Lake Okeechobee. It was actually built for tournament fishermen, and where you can have a drive-through way in. So, but anyway, I mentioned the other day that I was up there fishing the edge of the river. I fished some places where I'd been catching some, but the bite was kind of slow. It was out, it was kind of calm that morning, so it really wasn't a good morning. But we had about 30 minutes left to fish, and I came back to the river. And a lot of people ask me, what was I throwing there? But we were in the shallow water throwing out. Now, this is the bait that I was throwing. This is just a big old square bill, a 2.5. It's about the size of a Strike King 2.5. But any of these big square bills have really worked. This bait will run about four, maybe 5 feet, depending on the line size. I think I was throwing it on 15-pound test. And I was cranking it till I could feel it hit the edge of the river. And man, just in 30 minutes, we caught a bunch. I'm going to be up there again real soon. So I got some guys that have a tournament coming up there. So I'm going to be up there exploring this a little bit more. I cannot wait to get up there. But here's another bait that a gentleman came and showed me. It's kind of an interesting color. It's kind of a pink, got a little purple in it. It's a chatterbait. And they had a little pink colored little trailer they put on there. And that was interesting too. He said that's really hot in some other lakes. Haven't seen anybody throw that on Okeechobee, but I'm going to be chunking it a little bit just to see. Sometimes that color makes a difference. A lot of times it doesn't. I take it a lot of times, and I think right now is the perfect time to do it, is take just a regular 3/8 ounce chatterbait, get the black head, and take the skirt off of it. I don't care what color skirt is on it. Just take the skirt off of it and put you a small swim bait, a small boot tail on there. I use that little DOA cow bait, that little chartreuse one, chartreuse and silver. They make some white ones. And but those baits work really, really good for a search bait when you're out there just chunking and winding. You can I throw that pawpaw quite a bit. Just a regular rattle trap out there because the water's 3 feet deep in the shallow water out there. So there's plenty of water out there. The water really looked good. But that's what I would be doing if I was going out of Scott Driver Park. I wouldn't run around. We're having to run way over. If you go to Indian Prairie or around the Tent House, you need to run way offshore when you run around King's Bar. Don't even consider going through the cut. Don't even think about that. And even when you're running outside, stay way out. Watch your depth finder. A lot of the guys that I'm fishing with, their sonar units aren't really dialed in where they can see the bottom. And you can actually follow a contour line. Now, my tip this morning, when you get out there and you got really good water, and you see you got the map, and you have your sonar on one side, and you got your map on the other, when you go across the contour line on your GPS map and you see it's a little deeper water, just follow that contour line. Just stay to the left of it when you're running around. That way you're in deep water. Most of those maps are really, really accurate as far as the contours, and you might not be able to notice it when you're running, but that's very, very helpful. I've always done the same thing when I'm fishing the reefs out of Clewiston. If I come out of Clewiston and I'm fishing that reef that runs all the way to Pahokee, I'm going to follow that contour line that's off that reef. That way I know I'm in a little bit deeper water and I can stop and trim up, and then you can get up on the rocks and fish. And I'm going to be doing a lot of that lately too. But man, I tell you what, fishing's really, really good right now. I'll be out there a lot this weekend, and I'll be able to give you some really, really good reports on what I'm seeing. But if I'm in Okeechobee fishing the edge of the river, that little dude right there is going to get some action, let me tell you. I might change the hooks on it. But another little key too. Now, that's something I've learned over the years. When you're throwing these big fat baits like that, use the round bend hooks. Probably the hooks that come on them are going to be adequate enough. Don't put the EWGs on these fat hooks, on these fat baits. Let me tell you, for some reason, I don't know why, you don't hook them as good. Now, if it's a thin bait, if you got a flat-sided crankbait, or you got like a rattle trap type bait, lipless bait, EWGs are much, much better than the round bends. That's just something I've learned over the years. So I'm going to share that with you this morning. Since I don't have a lot of details on what's going on out there on the lake, I'll share some of those details of just how I changed the hooks. And, if you're a tournament fisherman, you can't afford to lose a fish. You can't lose one. If you do, you're probably not going to win, especially if it's a big fish. So you got to catch everything that bites. And there's so many things that we can control as far as our baits and our line sizes and taking care of our hooks and making sure everything's perfect. We can control all. There's a lot of things that's out of our control too. So we can't control all those. But guys, we got to thank Okeechobee County for making it possible. We had over, I think, 3,600 views on my fishing report yesterday. Folks, that's a lot. When I had a little radio show here, man, you can't even get WOKC in Lakeport. I was trying to find it. I couldn't. I was almost to Indian Prairie before I could even pick it up. So I wasn't impacting hardly anybody except just the local folks. Now we're impacting people all over Florida. All the people that are getting ready to come here, and 3,600 views in one day. And like I said, we do this 7 days a week. Every day of the week, I get up and do a fishing report, and I hope it helps some of you guys out. I really hope it helps. And I'm sure it does. If you'll do some of the things, like I say, sometimes it's just a simple thing as having the right size hook on your bait. But anyway, we got to thank Okeechobee County. Visit OkeechobeeCounty.com for everything going on in Okeechobee. Of course, Lakeshore Marine. They did a lot of work for some guys that broke down recently that I know. Power pole. You got to have the original power pole. 8-footers is what I've got on my boat. Clueless Golf Course, incredible shape. Join Jordan State Farm Insurance. The Bait Station in North Fort Myers, K&M Drugs, your local drugstore around Lake Okeechobee. Let me tell you, these family-owned, have all your, when you go to the doctor and they ask you where you want your drugs sent, go to K&M Drugs. They're the best. Pogie's Family Restaurant, man, they've been a partner of ours since we were on the radio. This goes back many, many years. And RV1 Mobile Repair. Got a problem with your RV? Dial this number, RV1, Fix My RV. They'll come to you, take care of all your problems. Well, guys, until tomorrow, I'm going to go out there and wash my boats. And I'm going to, I got that new Ranger. I'm going to get it out there and play with the electronics. I got some new electronics that I'm not familiar with. So, it takes time to learn all that stuff. So that's what I'm going to be doing probably this afternoon.